When you have your mission statement, core values, and a mantra really dialed in and consistently communicated, you'll know that you are doing a good job as a leader with communicating that when all of your Google reviews and Yelp reviews are basically your mission statement and basically your mantra. We are going to focus on building strong teams, culture, so that you can grow your business and make a bigger impact in the community, because we all know that we cannot do it ourselves. And if we really want to make a big impact in our community, we have to build that team around us so that I like to say teamwork makes a dream work, like we can all do it together, but it takes a team to do so, to make a big impact. I'm going to open up a couple of slides. There's not too many in here, but just helps guide our conversation a bit. Okay, great. So Hye Jin, Kalgankar, CEO, founder of the Hot Room. Just a little bit about me, real briefly. We opened our first studio back in November of 2013. We currently have 5 studio locations and growing. We've got 2 in the Indianapolis area, 1 in Bloomington, where Indiana University is located. Fishers is a suburb right outside of Indy, and then we also have a studio just outside of Chicago. In addition to our brick and mortar studios, we also have a really great on-demand platform, which I know many of you probably have too, thehotroomnow.com. We live stream classes, and we have hundreds of pre-recorded classes on there and a really large membership base on our digital platform. We also have the Hot Room Global Wellness Retreats. We take individuals on retreats all over the world. We usually do about, right now, around 6 a year, but just kind of depends on where we go and how long they are. So we just got back from Costa Rica in February. We are planning we're going to Portugal in the summer, and then we have Mexico again later in the year, Sedona, Lake Michigan, and so smaller retreats also. So that is also a growing part of our business. We also have the Hot Room Leadership Institute. So we have in-house teacher training programs for yoga and heated fitness, meditation, yin yoga. And we also have a really growing retail side of our business. So we call it the boutique at the Hot Room. And we drive a lot of our sales through ancillary sales through our boutique. Oh, the last thing I would say, we just also launched our nonprofit arm of our business. It's called the Breathe Foundation. And this is an effort to help diversify the wellness world, but also bring the practice of yoga and meditation to underserved communities. So really, really proud of being able to launch our first 501 what did they say? 501(c)(3), yeah, and be able to also serve our community through our foundation. Diversity efforts are really important to us. We do a lot around BIPOC scholarships and BIPOC only classes, so Black, Indigenous, people of color. And so if that's something of interest to you, we can also talk about that. In addition to that, I've got 2 daughters, 9 and 12, Maya and Annika. We've got a beautiful Australian Labradoodle, Cooper, who we rave about. And then my husband, Ashish, he recently left his job in the corporate world of 22 years, and now he works for the Hot Room. And it is something that we could have never, we just never planned it or imagined that we would be both working in the business and doing something that we love so much. But here we are. And he primarily does a lot of the back end think about like a CFO or a COO kind of position, working a lot with HR, legal, payroll, accounting, and a lot more. He also calls himself the VP of janitorial services, so all the things. Okay, so all of that, just a little bit about me and the company, we can go a lot of different ways, but over the past, 8 years now, we'll celebrate 9 years this fall. We've accomplished a lot. And one thing I didn't mention is 3 of the studios that I mentioned, we opened during COVID. So one, we opened in the December of 2019, so just a couple months before we shut down. And the other two, we opened in COVID, like we launched right during lockdown and stuff, a couple months after we opened those studios. So lots of challenges that we were faced, and a lot to be proud of, to be able to grow our business in the midst of a pandemic. But with all that said, the thing that I'm most proud of is how we've been able to grow our team while creating an amazing community, raving fans, and do it with strong culture. And I passionately believe that strong leaders, what makes strong leaders is their ability to build incredible culture and teams. And I think many of you on the call probably, can say, yeah, we have, maybe we have a good team, or I feel like we have good culture at our studios. And that is something that, again, I can't stress enough from a leadership standpoint, that we have to continue to hone our skills and make sure that we're continuing to develop and grow our teams and be really strategic about it, because it doesn't happen overnight. It's like over time that you build something really incredible with your team. So I thought, like, rather than me just say, oh, we have good culture, we have a great team, I thought I would show it's a 4-minute clip here, just what it feels like to be a part of the Hot Room community, and also what it feels like to work for us. So I am going to just share my screen here.
People needed this and they were looking for it in their lives. And so we, from that moment on, knew we had something special.
In the process, we've had a chance to build an amazing team of individuals. The teachers here, the front desk staff, our Hot Room Leadership Training Institute, our retreats, our online platform, they all coincide, they all work together because everybody has the same mission and vision, and no matter where you go, you will hear the same thing. And it is about community. It's about building you up as an individual. It's about supporting the community, and the community supporting the individual.
What it's like to work for the Hot Room, amazing, encouraging, supportive. I mean, everything you can dream of, and just the perfect role. I have never felt more supported and lifted up by my coworkers, by my leaders, by everyone around me, and it truly has been a special experience to be here. I've learned a lot, I've grown a lot, and I know that wherever I go from here, that this job is setting me up for success in that.
But it just goes back to that family piece, I didn't get to spend the holidays with my family because I was sick a few weeks ago, and the students invited me to their houses. I know what's happening with their kids. I know what's going on with their jobs. It's the connectedness, I feel like that's missing in, a lot of workplaces, a lot of life. So to have that here just feels really special.
That what we have here is so special. I actually got to see and experience what Hye Jin and Ash were like through the pandemic, and time again, that phone call was, how do we support our people? What do we do for our people? How can we be better for our people? And that really got me excited to work here.
As related to this global pandemic. Just like everybody else, it was such a surprise as to how quickly things happened, and frankly, the impact on us as a small business, and wanting to make sure that not only were we able to continue to provide this life-saving yoga and this place that has become such a sanctuary for people, but also as small business owners, to make sure that the individuals that we employed, which has increased so much over the past 8 years, continue to remain employed.
Who's going to hire me with my strong opinions and what I want to do and what I don't want to do? I want to be able to take my vacations. I want to go when I want to go. I want to be able to do what I want to do. So it's, in a way, it's like, how do I balance my life with what I want, and who's going to pay me for that? And how do I fit that all together to meld with me? And this opportunity, this yoga, came as like a godsend. Hye Jin hired me, hardly knew me. I went off to training, here I am. I came back and it was just like, you just jump in.
Yeah, so my transition to being a studio manager, I started practicing in January, and then we were kind of talking briefly, me and a couple of the other staff members, and they're like, I really think that you would be like a really great part of this. I came into a meeting with Ash and Hye Jin, and it was just like I fell in love with it the moment I had that first conversation with them, and started working front desk as a front desk lead, and then over the summer got to start kind of really getting into the roots of being a studio manager, and it's just been like the coolest experience so far.
Is such a strong sense of community. I mean, I love everyone here, every client that walks in the door.
And I tell everyone I get to come to work every day. I love this community, and I gained 300 best friends the day I started.
Like, everybody that comes in here has a different story, yet we all can relate. So it's very important for me to be here because it helps me just be my authentic self. I haven't found a job where I feel comfortable just being me all the time.
What I would want to say is like Hye Jin and Ash would just be like, thank you for believing in me. I think they believed in me more than I believed in myself, and I very much came into this like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. And they were just like, you can do this. I know you can do this. And I think that's just been the biggest thing, is that like they truly believe in you and see your full potential before you even see it.
None of this is possible without each and every one of you. Teamwork truly makes the dream work, and I'm deeply grateful to be doing this very important work with all of you.
I show that video not only to just showcase a little bit about what we do and what our team says about working for us, but also it's a good example as you are hiring and recruiting, having resources like this to help grow your team. So like this video specifically is something that we send out to targeted individuals who show interest in working for us, or we use it in ads and things like that to grow our team. So that's another part of showing that, is having research, because people want to know like, what's it like to work there? And when they hear from the employees that, you know, they're working for a company that has a strong mission, that there's community, that there's growth and experience, right? That's what gets people interested in learning more. So, you know, when I talk about mission statement, you know, I think that's a great place to begin with regards to building team and culture. My first hot yoga experience was actually in New York, and I was living in the city back in 2006. And, you know, I had no idea what I was walking into. I was just intrigued by a sign that said $30 for 30 days of yoga. And, you know, everyone's on a budget in New York. So I was like, okay, that sounds like a good deal. I walked in knowing nothing. I distinctly remember the smell. It smelled like really stinky, like soccer bag socks, things like, you know, it smelled awful. I remember looking around and everyone looked like a gazelle, like long, lean model, half naked, and like super, super focused on just like going into practice, like really serious, you know? It was intimidating. I placed my mat in the front row because there was no other spots. And how the teacher made me feel when immediately we started practicing the yoga, and it was very obvious as I was looking around trying to see what this was all about. He made me take my mat and drag it to the back row, called me out, little girl in the front, move your mat to the back row. And it was the most bizarre experience. He called me out for drinking my water. You know, he brought out a yardstick because my step wasn't big enough in a pose. I walked out and I just was like, why would anyone ever want to do this? This experience was just so unusual and awful, and again, intimidating. But the fact is, the next day, I had never felt better. And I was like, okay, there's something there. And because of that feeling, I went back, and again, similar experience, but I just loved how I felt. So I just continued to come. Well, over time, as I did more yoga and I traveled the world and we lived overseas in Europe too, I got to see a lot of studios. And from that perspective, I got really clear that if I were to ever open my own business or my own yoga studio, and again, I say if I were to ever, because it was never at the forefront of my mind. But if I were to open, I would so do this differently. And long story short, when we moved back from Europe to the Midwest and there wasn't a hot yoga studio, it just came to be where it's like, I can't live here without it. So I'm just going to have to build it myself. And when we first built the studio, it was very clear based on my experience, how I wanted the experience to be for anyone who was new to yoga, who was new to trying hot yoga. I wanted to make sure that the moment they came in, they felt seen, heard, welcomed. It was accessible. It was designed for beginners, and everyone felt like they belonged here, and that mission, it wasn't like I didn't call it out like that's my mission statement, but I had a clear purpose in why I wanted to open a studio, not only because I wanted a place for me to practice, but also how I wanted to share it, what I wanted that experience to look like. And I only bring that up because if you're like me, when I first started, I had a mission statement, something like making hot yoga, something like making it accessible to anyone, for everybody, or something like that, right? And I had it on my website but that was it. And I opened my first studio 2013. In 2015, I started working with a coach. And in 2015, that entire year, I dedicated that year to the mission statement. And there was a tremendous amount of work that I did personally and also as a leader to really communicate, why are we here? Why is the studio here? Why am I here? Why are you working here? And getting everyone really clear on our purpose, our why. And it took a whole year dedicated to that. And what ended up happening slowly is that people started coming to me and saying, whatever you're doing here, I want to be a part of it. People coming to me and saying, what you're doing here and this experience that you're creating in this community, I want to be a part of it. So, but that was really due to a year of dedicating to mission statements. And I always go back to pivotal points into where we are now. I always remember the year of 2015. And so, what is your mission statement? And how do you communicate that other than just have it sit on your website?
Right.
This is our mission statement, and it's a very personal thing. There's no, everyone's mission statement is a personal thing, but people need to know and be constantly reminded why we do what we do. Why does the hot room exist? And so this is our mission statement. We create a community where anyone, no matter your ability, feels safe and inspired to heal and strengthen your body and mind. Our studios are positive, welcoming, and challenge you to live your best life. Notice that there's no words in here around hot yoga or hot Pilates or heated fitness. When I first opened the studio, it was very much about the yoga, the hot yoga, do the yoga, that's what we do. But now what we do is we build community. And we do that through the practice of hot yoga and heated fitness. And we share this constantly. And think about every single meeting that you have, any kind of employee review that you do, coaching, hiring, you name it, we always start and remind ourselves, why are we even here? Why are we even having this conversation? Why are we even meeting one-on-one? Is because we're supporting this mission statement. Okay, so reflect on that. What's your mission statement and how do you incorporate it as a leader into your daily? It's a daily thing that you talk to, that you remind people of, and you coach to. The next thing is core values. So we have 4 core values. These core values simply are some of the most important words that we use because it guides all of our conversations. We hire to core values. It's a very big part of our interview process is we make sure that the individual is aligned to core values. We fire to core values. It's very apparent very quickly when someone is not aligned to your core values. And it's an easy conversation. Hey, you're an amazing instructor. You're just not aligned to our core values, and best of luck, right? And then also continuous coaching. All of our coaching is around the core values. So first one is teamwork as a team. Again, I said in my video, we passionately believe that teamwork makes a dream work, and we're always in service to each other. It's not, hey, teacher, I only do this. Front desk, I only do this. Like, we all do everything. If there's a lineup at the front desk and you're walking in to take class, there's not, without a doubt, any of my employees are going to come in and be like, how can I help? And so we always operate from a place of teamwork. And we also think that teamwork, it needs to be a diverse team. And so we really do look for how do we hire to different strengths? How do we hire to different, ages, shapes, sizes, right? Because one of the ways that we build community is when somebody walks in and they see a teacher or somebody at the front desk that looks like them, that they can relate to, and not the gazelle and models that I saw in my first class. That's how we build community, and a diverse community in that way. Excellence, it's very simple. We look to wow and exceed expectation. We are very passionate about feedback and continuous learning. And so anytime that, an example, teacher teaches class, I rarely do I say, hey, can I give you some feedback? It's automatic. Like, I take class, give me feedback. Can you give me some feedback? It's this eagerness to learn and always get better. So that is another big core value of ours. Passion, we love what we do, and it shows. A lot of times people end up working for us, and then their personal practice gets, they start regretting it because the work takes over what they used to enjoy. And so we're very passionate about what we do. And so making sure that everyone is on their mat and practicing and doing well. We're doing good for others, but also well for ourselves. And so that passion shows up in everything that we do, and also keeping up our personal practice is really important. And then integrity, we always do the right thing. When people are not watching us, we always do the right thing. So those are our core values. I would ask, what are your core values? And more importantly, how do you use them in a day-to-day basis? Again, hiring, coaching, firing, acknowledging people, like when you see someone doing something well, like every quarter we have a company meeting and we give recognition. It's core value recognition, and it's specific examples that model our core values. Okay, the next thing that super important in team and good culture is a mantra. So we have our mission statement, but the mantra is something that is a little bit short and sweet that people can, we have it on a piece of what is it, label maker, and they're just posted everywhere. And actually I'm looking at one right now because I'm using an old studio computer. It says positive, welcoming, in service to others. And it just reminds us every time we step in through the doors of our studio, this is how we show up: welcoming, positive, and in service to others. And it's a really easy way to coach in the moment too, of, hey, you see someone and they just got grumpy face on, or, RBF or whatever, hey, welcoming, positive, in service to others, it's just a quick, and everyone's like, yep, got it. And so mantra is a really easy, simple way to coach to on a daily basis too. Okay. Oh, you know what? Another thing that I would mention is when you have your mission statement, core values, and a mantra really dialed in and consistently communicated, you'll know that you are doing a good job as a leader with communicating that when all of your Google reviews and Yelp reviews are basically your mission statement and basically your mantra. It's fascinating. All the reviews come in and they use the same words. So welcoming, so positive. All, you know, and so that's another thing, is that when you start seeing those reviews come in and they're just essentially repeating what you're internally communicating with your team, then you know you're doing a good job. Okay, another thing that employees really want to know is they want to know, what's the vision? Where are we headed? And so communicating your vision is also super important. And a vision can be, think about 5 or 10 years down the road. But our vision that I communicate in every single meeting is, we envision a world where anyone can access hot room classes and our community and live their most powerful life. And so what that means to us long term is, how do we bring this to anyone who wants it? So obviously our on-demand platform was a really big milestone to supporting our vision, but also the work that we're doing now with opening up more studios beyond our 5, and then doing the work for franchise and licensing that gives people know where we're headed. And so they have the mindset, okay, I'm going to start working here, and then I'm going to have an opportunity to open my own hot room, because I know that's what their vision is. And then I thought it was be helpful to just see, like, when anyone I'm interviewing, you know, I'm talking through making sure they understand what our mission is, core values, our vision of the company, but I also show them our org chart. And I show them some examples of people who have gone through our org chart too, how they've grown with the company, because people, when they're looking for jobs, they're looking for opportunities for growth. If anyone knows how to develop a better org chart, I'm all for it. Like, this is not my forte. Okay, so this is where we are now. Of course, this is not how we started. How we started was me, myself, and I did everything. I taught 15 classes a week. I did the front desk. I did janitorial services, all that stuff. So slowly over time, growing the team, but how you grow your team is what we just talked about, all of it: mission, core values, mantra, communicating that, and then I'll share some other best practices. But now here we are, and we have, I think, about 100 people on our payroll. Of course, they're not all full-time employees, but you know, here are our full-time positions in our org chart. So you'll see myself up here, Ash, my husband, he's like the CFO, and he oversees the retail side of our business, the boutique side of our business. We have our regional sales manager, Chandra, and all of the studio managers report up to her. So we've got 5 studio managers that report up to her. Underneath the managers, we call them team leads, but they're full-time desk people. So they report up to the manager, and then of course the front desk associates underneath them. Another individual that reports up to Chandra is a marketing and project coordinator. So this individual, think of just all the campaigns that you're running in your studio, whether they are specific campaigns to lead generation campaigns or membership retention campaigns or any kind of communication that needs to go out to our community. She owns the marketing side of that. So think all the email marketing, text messages, graphic design, things like that. And that's a full-time position. We also have a sales specialist that we're currently hiring that's open right now. It's a remote position. They can live wherever they want, but this individual works full-time and supports our membership sales efforts. So they support across all 5 studios, driving membership revenue. On the other side, we have the Leadership Institute. So Katie Nelson's the manager there. Think of all the teacher training programs. Teachers report directly up to her, and continuing development of our teachers. Underneath her, again, are the instructors. And then she's also got lead instructors at every single studio to help with the mentoring and coaching, since it's hard for her to be everywhere amongst all the studios. We also have Erin here. She's in charge of community engagement and the global wellness retreats. All of our retreats that we do, she owns that. I essentially show up. Sometimes I don't even show up. I don't need to be there, but she handles all the retreats and all of the partnerships and engagements that we do outside of our brick and mortar studios. And then we also have a digital marketing consultant that helps us, on an hourly basis. So that's where we are now. I don't know, like for me, like if nobody ever showed me anything like this when I started back in 2013, what this potentially could look like. And so over time, this has kind of evolved, but I feel really good about the structure that we have now to be able to support 5 brick and mortar studios, the online digital platform, the boutique, global wellness retreats, teacher training, and then also our nonprofit part of our business. So I hope that's helpful for you too, to see kind of how other businesses are structured. And then, the last thing I would say is some additional best practices. People always say, know your ABCs. We always say, know your ADRs, and that's always be recruiting. We're always recruiting. Actually, one of our accountability, one of pieces of, what's the word? Not KPI, but it's an element that we measure activity with our studio managers, is they have to interview or engage with one new person a week about working for our company. And they either have to seek them out or they come to us, right? But their requirement every single week is to meet with somebody, and the conversation is about what it looks like to work for the hot room and, employment. Number 2 is always be training. It's not about the first 30 days you train and you let them go. Every single shift that we have for like front desk individuals, managers, we have weekly meetings, and then we have daily huddles every single day for like 10 to 15 minutes. But for even our front desk individuals, they have like a 4-hour shift. 10 minutes is about training. They're always training about something, whether they're watching a video or role playing with a script or something like that. People have the expectation that they're always going to be training on their shift. And then always motivate and challenge your people. Again, people are looking for opportunities to work for a good company that has good mission. They want to be a part of something like a community. Yes, they're looking for salary and benefits, and I can answer some of your questions if you have any about that, how we do that. But they're also looking for, I want growth, I want experience, I want to learn something, right? And so always motivate, challenge your people, and learn, what do you want to do next? Where do you want this to look like in the next year? And for front desk individuals, it could be like, I'm good with where we are. I don't plan to really work here. I've got my other job. I just want to have fun and be a part of this community and maybe earn some extra money. Okay, awesome. So the development plans are maybe a little bit different, right? But opening up that conversation so that you have a specific plan in place for each individual, and having clarity on what they're looking for and where they want to go with the hot room is super important. And then, the last thing I would say is, always operate from a place of servant leadership. When I'm talking with Chandra, our regional manager, or even our studio managers, the conversations are always about, how are you showing up for your team so that you can deliver amazing results and make a big impact in your community. In my past life, I've been blessed to work with some really, really great leaders. I've had leaders who were really focused heavily on results, sales, but they had a really hard time creating relationships with their people. And then I've also had leaders who are so buddy with the people, they'd had trouble getting the results and accountability. I believe that you can get both. You can have amazing relationships with your team. You can deliver tremendous results if you are a servant leader. So focus on vision, focus on, remind people of your vision, work side by side with them. It could be as simple as every time you're in the studio, just simply ask, what else can I do for you? How can I support you? And every time I leave the studio, what else can I do to help you today? They don't work for you. You work for them. And that's really what a servant leader does, is they have the mindset of, I work for my people. How do I help them side by side to deliver on our mission?
Hey everybody, Jessica LaChance here. Do you want more business education for your fitness studio or wellness business? Subscribe to our YouTube channel or our email newsletters, and we'll see you here soon.